Hello! Welcome to today's edition of Caddy's Corner. It's Sunday. Got some stuff to do today before I head off to a shift at Montero's tonight. Been thinking a lot and wanted to talk about the martyr/victim complex, or the martyr complex or the victim complex, but best I can figure they're completely related to each other, so we'll just call it the martyr-victim complex. I tell you that I do a lot of YouTube watching, and I do a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of journaling, a lot of research. I take a lot of notes on things I watch or listen to, podcasts and such. I have really good success of YouTube a couple people, and then the suggestions that YouTube makes for you kind of leads me to the next thing I want to hear, need to hear. Every once in a while I'll skip one and be like, yeah, it doesn't resonate with me, or I don't like the person that much, or the information's just not on topic. But today, I had a really hard time finding anything about this that resonated with me. It was like little pieces of it, but it was like people who had done some research on it and were trying to tell people how to handle someone in their life who might be a victim or a martyr. Obviously, they didn't have anybody who was super close to them that was in that. And it's just a loop. It's not a being of person. It's not a... this is who you are situation. You get trained into it. Hence the victim part. And I might have said it 400 times before, but I don't like the word victim. Because I like to think I'm smarter. That's Phil's cat food. I had to run to the deli. I'm smarter than being a victim. I'm stronger than being victimized. I'm better than being victimized. I was raised better. I was whatever. That's part of being a victim, though, is that it happens to you unbeknownst of your knowledge, and then leaves a giant trail of should-haves and shame and guilt for what you could have avoided had you walked away sooner or seen what was happening. But you only know what you know when you know it. That's all we got. So I'm going to confess to have I lived as a victim martyr for a very long time, and I apologize, and it makes my heart so very sad to the people that I disappointed in those days. I overpromised a lot because there were a lot of people I was trying to please, and I didn't deliver. And then I got very angry and very and if you've ever met me when I'm angry, it's not pretty. And I was raised in the South, so sorry y'all, but we got a really good training program for passive aggressive behavior. So I was very good at punishing people without ever directly confronting them about it. Sometimes very aggressively, and sometimes completely unbeknownst even to myself. I didn't even know I was doing it. But what it meant was, in the moments of making a decision, what needs to be done, how much time do we have to do it, what are all the pieces to go together? It would be what they said their expectations were, which has been the weirdest thing in my life to learn, especially as a professional organizer. It's been a real shocker when people have come at me with extreme breakdowns of venom, when I'm like, but I was actually literally doing what you said in sometimes months worth of meetings you wanted to do. And when I pushed back and said I didn't think that was a wise choice, you vehemently put your fist down and said, no, I want it this way. And so we were doing it that way. And then they got very angry about it. It wasn't once or twice or three times. But the flip side of all of this is I don't really even know who I was then. I don't have a clear recollection of what was really happening, because I was in an alternate universe. It was a universe I created because I would make, in those moments of what do we need to do and how are we going to get it done, I would choose everybody else's needs over my own. Oh, don't worry, I'll just grab a sandwich at the deli and eat while I'm walking for 15 days in a row. Don't worry, I'll do 15, 16, 17 hours of work a day without sleep, without this, whatever. Oh, you can't pick up the slack, I'll pick it up. And I get so mad at everybody else for not either appreciating it. And so here's the thing. If you've told someone, I'm going to get 10 things done for you in a week, and you get 5 done for them, 5 done for someone else, and 5 done for someone else, but you haven't slept the whole time, and you're overwhelmed and hungry and tired and angry or broken or sick, you've disappointed them. And that's fine if it happens once, right? Like, life happens, but when it's who you have become and how you are acting every day, nobody is winning. Nobody's winning. I think one of the craziest things about being in the spiral, people are taking advantage of you. It's true. It was definitely happening. Had I been more boundaried at the time, it wouldn't have happened in smaller circumstances anyway. I would have had more rest and recovery and ability to see bigger picture situations. But nobody could tell me. Nobody could tell me I was being a martyr. That's the biggest thing about martyrs. You can't tell them they're being a martyr. They have to figure it out for themselves. And that's kind of what really prompted the energy of this one today. Is there was a dude who had done some research about some guy he'd worked with, and so he thought, oh, I'll Google victim martyr complex. And he was like, be mindful not to tell them what they're doing when they're having a down day. I'm like, try it when they're on an up day, honey. It don't work any day. And I'm speaking also not from someone who's just been a martyr. And I would like to say, I'll wear the badge, because it's a lot of life lessons, and it ain't ever happening again. It is an old pattern of habits that I have to watch and be very mindful for. And quite honestly, right now, serving on a jury and bartending has been a lot of, I got it, I don't so much got it. So I'm figuring out how to put all the pieces together. But, with New York City paying $40 a day, because most corporations cover the rest of your salary for the day. So why would anybody fight about it? It's only those of us who are self-employed that have a problem. So whatever, since 1990, whatever, it hasn't changed. It's $40 a day. That's not enough for me to pay my rent. So I've got to figure out a hustle right now. But the hustle right now is for me. So at least in this circumstance, I'm not trying to save anyone else. The other thing that I know from the victim martyr time for myself was that when people around me were choosing other paths, they were starting to work out and take care of their bodies differently, eat different diets, do meditation, which, by the way, if I haven't 100%, I'm still awful at doing it every day, but it has really opened up my ability to connect with calm into my own self and needs, and getting a perspective on other people's behaviors and actions and motivations. It puts a completely different perspective into your life, and it's only with regular practice that you really get that. And I'm striving to continue to do that regular practice even in a crazy schedule. And the more you have it sort of innately part of your routine, the more you will do it. Just like my Tai Chi, it took me months and months and months and months to get a star on my calendar that I had done a Tai Chi day at home. And now I do them all the time. I forgot where I was going with it originally, but so I'm facing this way now. Paused for my neighbor to it's getting windy out here, y'all. I get this guy upstairs. How about if I just talk through this? I'll be cousin it for the day. Is that better? Is that a good look? So whatever, that train of thought is going. When other people were getting better, that was a challenge to my health. And as much as I was excited for them, the loop of the martyrdom victim spiral makes them competition to you, and makes it maybe even a better, not competition, comparison. And in comparison, your frustrated loop of everybody doing to you, and you're making all of these sacrifices for everyone else, and no one appreciates you, and everyone's just taking advantage of you, and no one ever listens to you, and it feeds that, and it makes it worse. So conflict arises, and oftentimes that healthier person, as they're healing and growing and gaining their own new perspective in life, will have to walk away from you. And I'm sorry, my heart hurts for those relationships that failed too, because there were the people that had I just leaned into mimicking them. What do I say always? Comb the trail of geniuses. At the time, they were the geniuses, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And in this world of technology, it's easy to just sort of ghost somebody out and stop contacting them as much or whatever. Move on. Next. Oh, there's a great interview with Norman Lear, who I got to meet. That's a different story. With Oprah. And he came up with this like mantra for himself in all of the days when he was doing all those shows. Over, next. So Oprah asked him, like, did you feel sad when, like, One Day at a Time was ending and it was the final cast party? And he was like, no, I had another rehearsal to go to. Over. That show's over. Next. So I'm trying to adapt that a little bit more in my own world right now. I'm at 10 minutes here, so I'm going to cut it now. But I was really quite shocked that the YouTube didn't have more about the martyr syndrome, because I sense, especially in the South, well, and honestly across America, I can't speak for every other country, but I think that women in this country are, quite honestly, like basic training in the military, trained to be martyrs. Sacrifice your own self, your own needs for everyone else around you. And that is where you will earn your value in this place on this earth. And the truth of the matter is that's not your value. Your tasking and your ability to help and heal and cope and cook and clean, that's not who you are. And it's certainly, it's never fulfilling everybody all the way. There's always something else to be celebrated and gained in this life. So, I'm going to say, if any of this resonates with you, go out and do some reading. I guess don't bother YouTubing it, about the martyr and the victim complex. Just go after being a victim. Go after reading about boundaries. My hope for today is that it resonates with no one that's watching this. But having been a smart, strong, capable, confident woman who got sucked in, and I'm talking about 20 years, 30 years worth of it, man. I'm 50, but there was a lot of time, effort, energy, rage, frustration, and by the way, it just led to a lot of depression. If you think that anxiety and depression that I suffered from, weeks without taking showers, days I couldn't leave my house because I couldn't breathe, it's all part of me. And I don't know which things fed the others all the time, but I certainly know that in the hindsight of all of it, that being a martyr and also being a victim with very little boundaries didn't help. And I think certainly now that I'm extricating kind of backwards and throwing some of this stuff in the garbage and walking away from it and being very mindful when it pops up in my life now, in small ways, that the martyrdom was certainly like yeast in the bread dough, and it rose. It got bigger and bigger and bigger because of the depression and the anxiety. Especially when I had anxiety, because if I rallied to leave the house, well, then you should give me a gold star and treat me with respect and kindness and love for the next 3 days, because that was the hardest thing I've had to do. And that's not what happened. People didn't appreciate that. The person I worked for at the time that I started having the panic attacks only ever was cruel, mean, and vicious to me about not being at work on time, staying long enough, being focused enough. Ironically, someone who also suffered from panic and anxiety. But then, by the way, also Google narcissists. Found out there's a new one too. It's called a vulnerable narcissist, and that's a sneaky one. Because they're very narcissists. You expect to be sort of like puff-uppery peacocks who can do no wrong and blah blah blah. But sometimes when they're the vulnerable version, they have a lot of emotions. They're very needy. They need a lot of confidence building. They need a lot of love. But at the end of the day, they're not there for you. They're there for you to make them feel better. And if you don't think that's not linked to a martyr syndrome too, I haven't quite combed the tangles out of this one yet, y'all. It's all a work in progress. So, hope for today that nobody's feeling this way, but if you are, go out and do some research. And I guess I've already asked all the questions. Are you trapped in a martyr spiral? Is someone you're very close with trapped in one? And if you're helping them and it's not helping, you got to figure out some new boundaries. Are your boundaries strong and clear enough right now? Could you be better at it? And that's it. So for this breezy, blustery, chilly Sunday, I'm going to go give Phil some food and go to work at Montero's. We'll do it again tomorrow or the next day or something. We're back in court, so it's going to be an interesting week. Talk to you later. Bye.